Warsurge Wednesday, special edition, Tau Empire. The talk of the town right now, if you follow Warhammer 40,000, is the new Tau Empire Codex is coming out. And some of it's cool, and some of it's not cool, depends on your point of view, I think. But I was wondering what my full painted Tau Force would look like in Warsurge, and here it is. Now, the downside, I don't get to play Warsurge in like a full Warhammer scale game. I don't get to put this entire army down at once. And because I play very casually with my son, I don't have a Warsurge group yet, but we're getting there. But I started this project and I sat and I fleshed out what I think the Tau would look like if I built them myself. And it just made me stoked to play some Warsurge. Like, I really want some Warsurge friends. I really want to put this army on the table as I've written it, as I want it to be, because that's what I get to do with Warsurge. And the game system is fun, and the freedom is what I love. If you're going to play your Warhammer 10th edition, and you buy your new Tau Codex, or if I were to do that, let's talk about me. The first thing is all these drones. I have a lot of drones. All of them don't really need to be here. They're tokens for other units. And then you're restricted on how many you take now. So even if I use them as tokens for other units, I still would never use all of them. But in Warsurge, they're all units. And I'm really happy to have them because I really like my drones. In Warhammer 10th edition, the new codex, Commander Brightside goes to Legends. And he's no longer relevant. You can still bring him into Legends games, but of course that comes with the asterisk. That's why people don't want to play with Legends. Because when they set up a new game, they have to be like, oh, this is a Legends unit, and hope that's okay. The Crisis suits now have specific loadouts, and they are kitted out for doing specific jobs. And I get why Games Workshop would make that decision for the sake of, fair play pointing views. Maybe I don't know why they would do it, because I like my Crisis suits to be ready for anything. I have the fusion gun if they run into a tank. I have the plasma gun if they run into an elite. I have the burst cannon if they run into regular infantry. They have shield generators. They're all purpose, and I really like them. And it drives me crazy that Games Workshop just can't make them be expensive in the points. Like, I built this Warsurge list, and I was flabbergasted by how many points a unit of Crisis suits is. But they should be, because they're dope. But let's keep going. Let's see here. Dyke Grek, he hasn't had 40k rules in a while. I would have to call him one of the other shapers, and that's fine. That's cool. But also, I liked that he was Dyke Grek, and in Warsurge, he can still be Dyke Grek. My shaper is also not like a legal unit anymore, because they have 3 new shapers now, but none of them are shaper with a pulse rifle. So he's got to go. And then my Kroot Hounds, if you're playing Warhammer 10th edition, they now come in packs of 5 or 10, and here I am with a pack of 8. So I would have to get rid of them. And so and then aside from, the sacrifices I would have to make from my painted models, and that drives me crazy. I painted these models. So they could be part of the Force. And when you force me to set a bunch of them on the shelf, it doesn't feel good at all. Because it's hard for me to paint models. I'm a slow painter. I don't have an abundance of free time. So getting models painted, it means something to me, and I want to use them. And when you're like, no, you don't get to use those models, go spend more money, I find it unbelievably irritating. Particularly, the treatment that drones have gotten just makes me crazy. So let's talk about how I built these guys in Warsurge. I guess we'll start with the drones. I have my marker drones in squads of 3, because I have 9 marker drones, and that worked. I have the gun drones in 2 squads of 4. And then I have 7 shield drones. So I put them in a squad of 3, a squad of 2, and a squad of 2. Drones you can give the bodyguard keyword to, and the shield drones have the bodyguard keyword, and so do the gun drones. I didn't give it to the marker drones because I really do want them to be their own thing. And the marker drones are expensive. Oh my God, they're so expensive. But anyway, the bodyguard rule allows me to separate them from the unit they're attached to and then attach them to different units. And then if you're the bodyguard unit, when the unit takes wounds, you are required to be the first model unit, or pardon me, the first model wounded. So when I first wrote the list, I had 7 individual drones as like each drone is its own unit. But Warsurge is smarter than that, and that makes it super expensive. If you roll all 7 of them in one block of 7, it's like 40 or 50 points. But if you roll them all one drone each, there's 7 individual units of one drone each, it's like 140 points. And because Warsurge, I don't understand how the math works, but it all just makes sense. It feels right. So let's talk about what we've done with the drones. We'll start with the shield drones. The only thing I've given them is the airborne rule because there's airborne all over the list. The Vespa, the drones, the commander, the crisis suits, the stealth suits. Anything that, flies as the airborne rule. And then the shield drones had the bodyguard rule, and that's all they're doing is being bodyguards. They move 10 inches, they dash 6 inches. Their defense 4, one hit points, armor of 4, aegis of 4, bodyguard and airborne, and that's it. I got a unit of 2 attached to the Fire Warriors. I got a unit of 2 attached to Brightside, and I got a unit of 3 attached to the crisis suits. Those are the shield drones, and that's super easy. Gun drones, much the same. Move 10, dash 6. Defense 4, HP 1, 4 up armor save, no aegis save. Each drone has 2 pulse carbines. They shoot 24 inches. They got 4 attacks each. Power 5, no AP. They have bodyguard, so they can attach to units if they like. They're airborne. And then they have accuracy 5 up because they're drones and they should hit on 5s. So you'll roll your dice, you'll hit on 5s, and then you'll roll your attack dice at power 5. And I intend to roll them as 2 units of 4, but they can, if they want to, join other units. That's up to them. Now, the marker drones are cool. Marker drones are real cool, because I feel like Games Workshop never really knew what to do with marker drones, but marker drones are cool. Just like the other drones, move 10, dash 6, defense 4, 1 hit point, 4 up armor, no aegis, airborne. And then they have the marker light. Now, I have marker lights on the drones, but I also have a marker light on the sergeant here, and I've given them different profiles because the drones, their marker lights are battle, and the sergeant, her marker light is heavy, and that just, again, feels right because as I've played Tau over the course of years, if somebody's carrying a marker light, it's heavy, and drones always got to move and fire them because they were drones. So the marker light ended up being cool, and it's got a 36-inch range, and it's got 1 attack, and it's AP2, so it just goes through. There's no save against it. Well, unless you get, you can get an invulnerable save against a marker light, but that's cool. I'm fine with that. I've given it pulverize, harmless, damage 2, and aim 5. Aim 5 means in order to roll my attack dice, I first have to roll a dice and get a 5. I got to hit on a 5. Damage 2 means it always wounds on a 2 no matter what. However, harmless means it does no wounds, but harmless procs the category that the pulverize perk comes in. I can't remember the name of the category off the top of my head, but what pulverize does, if you get the hit, or if you get the wound and we wound on a 2 and then it's harmless, if you get that wound in, it lowers the toughness of what you're shooting at by 1. And by toughness, I'm playing Warsurge. I got to get my words right. What I mean is the defense value. So just because these models are out, if a marker light were to shoot at the ethereal, who are defense 3, if the wound goes through, they are now defense 2. If they hit the crisis suits, who are defense 5, goes down to defense 4. And there are 10, if you count the sergeant here, 10 marker lights on the field. I like that. I like that a lot. And then they are battle. so they can move and fire, but if they fire, they can't dash. And then that's the roundup on the drones. It's all the drones. Vespid, move 14, dash 6, defense 4, 1 hit point, 4 up armor save. I've given them accuracy 4, so they got a hit on 4s. Ambush 1. This was a choice. Anything that deep strikes, which is the Vespid, the crisis suits, the commander, the stealth suits, anything that has the right to deep strike. There's a lot of different ways to do it in Warsurge. You can give them the invade perk where they just kind of like they're there, and that works a lot like infiltrators in Warhammer 40,000. However, Warsurge has a deployment phase every turn, so those infiltrators could show up every turn as if it were a deep strike. But they also have the ambush perk, which is deep strike like you think of it. It only happens turn 2 after. And there's ambush 1, ambush 2, ambush 3. In ambush 3, you put the model where you want to, right? But ambush 1 and ambush 2, you scatter them like 7th edition, and I'm into it. And so even though I could have been like ambush 3 and put them where I want to, anything that deep strikes, I've given it ambush 1. So I'm going to put it on the board, and I'm going to scatter it 2d6. And if it hits, it hits, but just because I miss that rule so much. I miss it like I miss templates. And then in Warsurge, I'd have to double check this rule. It's been a while since I looked at it, but if you can't place the model, I believe it goes back into reserve. If I got to play this with a group of friends, I would totally house rule, and I would grab the old Deep Strike mishap table out of the 7th edition rulebook, where if you can't place the unit, you roll a dice, and on a 6, it goes back into reserve, and on a 1, it's destroyed, and on anything else, your opponent gets to place the model, something like that. I would want to bring that back because that's dope. But anyway, the Vespid, hit on 4s, ambush 1, airborne, and then they have their neutron blasters, which are 18-inch guns. They have 2 dice to throw, power 5, and then their penetrate 1 and annihilate 1. So that's -1 to the armor and 2 damage. And those are the Vespid, and they're pretty basic. Kroot. Love my Kroot. That new Kroot box is coming out soon, and my friendly local put my name on one of them. I'm going to be neck deep in some Kroot sometime soon. But here we go with the Kroot. The Kroot, they move 7, they dash 6. I kept my dashes at 6 pretty much across the board because the dash is kind of like the advance move. And as, again, I don't want to decide what Warsurge is for you, but for me, it's a 40k proxy. It is. And the advance, or the dash move to me is like the advance move, and the advance move has always been a D6. So I'm reluctant to like the crisis suits move 10. Do I give them a 10-inch dash? That's a lot of movement. So I try to keep dashes down to 6 inches. So Kroot moves 7, but they dash 6. Did I really make them defense 4? I did. My Kroot are defense 4. And when I first saw that, I just a second ago, I almost stopped and stopped the phone and fixed it and went backwards. But no, I want my Kroot to be defense 4 because I love my Kroot, and I don't want them to get shot and die because they're defense 3. They're going to be tougher and be defense 4. And you know why they get to be? Because I say they are, because it's Warsurge. So I've made my Kroot defense 4. They have 1 hit point. They have a 6-up armor save. They have no Aegis save. So what have we given them? We've given them accuracy 3-up. So they hit on 3s. So they're better. They hit on 3s and they're defense 4. And I did that. I think I did that when I was stoned right in the list. And I love Kroot so much that I made them better. And now that I'm talking about it, I'm sticking with it. I've given them Shroud. So they're -1 to hits in shooting. I've given them cover 1, so the defense is 1 better when they are in cover. So that would make them defense 5, which would be saying they're toughness 5. And maybe I want to dial that back, but I don't know. We're not going to do that now. Recon 2 gives them their scout move, but Recon 1 is a 6-inch move, and Recon 2 is a 12-inch move. I went with Recon 2. And then they have Traverse 1, so they can run over difficult terrain, but not dangerous terrain. And then the Crew Rifle is just what you think it is. It's range 24, 1 attack, power 4, no AP, assault, so they're fast, and then it's rapid. So at 12 inches, it throws 2 dice. And that's the crew. And it'd be really easy for me to make them defense 3, like you think of a crew. And then actually what I think I'm going to do now that I'm talking about it, I will twin their guns. There is a perk where you take 2 weapons and give it the twin perk. And the weapons have to be similar in points cost for it to work. But I can give them 2 profiles for the rifle. And one can be the shooting profile, the other one can be the melee profile, and then I can twin that. So when they're twinned, you only get to use one, but then they could shoot and hit on 4s, and then a melee hit on 3s, and I might actually do that with my crew. So maybe I'm a little unprepared for my Warsurge Wednesday video. Maybe the crew aren't done. I like them at toughness 4, though. I do. I think that's neat because they're crew and they're awesome. And I'm going to show you one more thing here. I got to pull some guys out. So a long time ago, I was playing with the first guys I played 40K with. And I'm talking, this is somewhere between 5th, 6th, and 7th edition. Whichever edition where, in order to get your psychic powers, you had to roll them at random, that edition. But these 2 guys here, this is my Kroot Psyker, and this is Captain Kroot. And the guys I was playing with, we house ruled. And this is regular 40K, and this is a long time ago. This is 10 years or more ago. But we house ruled that this guy, he'd found an awesome shield on the ground, and so he became Captain Kroot. And I'd pay 50 points for him, but he'd be the sergeant, and the only perk he got from his awesome shield, he's got a 2-up armor save. But that rocked, because I'd put him in the front of a squad of Kroot, and then he would tank their wounds on the way in, and he cost 50 points. And we just pulled that number out of the air, but it was fun. And then this guy here, he would get 1 power, and you had to roll it at random. And maybe it was helpful that day, and maybe it wasn't. But he was my Crew Psyker. And in Warsurge, I haven't written rules for these guys, but I could. It'd be really easy to make 2 Kroot sergeants, one with an awesome armor save, and one with a psychic power. It'd be so simple. And I may do that in the future, but not today. Here we have the Krootox. Krootox, and I love him. I have a few more of these to paint, and then that new Kroot box has the Krootox Rampagers, and those are going to be hot. But he has the same stat line as a Kroot, except for he's defense 5, and he's got 4 hit points. And then he's got all the same perks: Recon 2, Cover 1, Shroud, Accuracy 3-up, Traverse 1. He's got his Kroot gun, which shoots 48 inches. 48 inches with 1 attack, power 7, and it's got rapid, so he will throw 2 dice at half range, and annihilate 1, so it's 2 damage. And he's also got his Krootox Fists. Krootox Fists. Krootox Fists. Why is that hard to say? Krootox Fists. It's like the X and the ST don't want my tongue to work together. Krootox Fists. He's got fists, and he's a Krootox. And those are 4 dice, and they're going to be power 6, annihilate 1, penetrate 2. That's -1, -2 to your AP, and +1 to the damage, so it's 2 damage. So he is a Krootox. And then he doesn't have to roll with anybody. He can just be his own thing. Standing in front of him is Dyke Grek. Dyke Grek comes out of the Blackstone Fortress, and I played the heck out of Blackstone Fortress, and I really like Grek. Someday, when I get to be a Stargrave player, he will be the bounty hunter, and I want to keep him with personality. If you're rolling with him in Warhammer 40,000 a day, you're going to have to call him a trail shaper, and that's fine. He can be a shaper, he can be a leader, but that's not who Grek is to me. To me, Grek's a badass who's doing his own thing. And so I wrote him that way. So he's got the crew stat line, move 7, dash 6. I gave him 3 hit points on 4 defense, and then he's got a 6-up armor save. And then I gave him Traverse, Cover 1, Leader, so he can join units if he wants, Shroud, Accuracy 2 up, and then I gave him Invade 3. And Invade 3 means in the deployment step, you just put him somewhere, wherever you want him. No scatter, no nothing. You just put him on the table. His gun is a Kroot gun, but I've given it Precision 2 up, so he can snipe. The Precision rules is the sniper rule, and what it is when you roll your attack dice, if it's Precision 2 up, on a 2 up, you get to pick the target rather than your opponent picking the target. But there are different precisions, because it can be like Precision 6 up or 5 up, but I went 2 up because I want him to be the sniper. And then I also gave him a trap, because that's what he had in his first 40k rules. It's fun and it's flavorful. Greg's trap has a 48-inch range. It's 1 attack. It is power 6. It is trap 1, and that is what the trap rules are. What they say is you can set the trap and put down a marker for it, or you can just have it go off next to somebody. But it is also, where are you? No line of sight. He doesn't have to be able to see it. 1 use. It's a 1-trick pony. Penetrate 2 is -2 to the armor. And Decimate 1, and Decimate 2, pardon me, is 2d3 wounds. So Greg says there's a trap there, and it goes off, and it hits at power 6 and for 1 attack. And it does 2d3 damage, and it's -2 to your armor. And so he's expensive for what he does. And he'll take territory and he'll hold ground. But really, I wanted him to be in the game, and I wanted him to be cool. Cool is what it's all about. Like being cool. This is my Shaper. The Shaper has that Kroot profile. He moves 7, he dashes 6. He's defense 4, 4 hit points, armor 6 up. Leader, so he can join units. Recon 2, Traverse 1, Cover 1. Accuracy 3 up, Shroud, and then I gave him Aura 1. You can give units an aura or a presence. The ethereals next to him, they have a presence. He has an aura. I gave him the Bloodthirsty aura. And so everybody within 12 inches of him gets an extra attack dice in melee. And I'm into it, and that is his aura. And what's fun about him is the model costs 31 points, but then the aura costs 167. And the ethereals are the same way when we get to them with their presence. But as long as he's on the field, everybody within 12 of him gets +1 to his melee attack. And I'd like to roll him just with the 40 crew. Like, he's in the middle, and they're going, rah! And we'll see how they do with their defense 4. Kroot Hounds. Move 12-6. Defense 3, that's sensible. I did not make them defense 4. 1 hit point, 6 up armor save. Recon 2, Cover 1, Shroud, Accuracy 3 up, Traverse 1, and then I have given them Charge 2. Charge 2 is a Warsurge perk, where when you decide to charge somebody, you roll 2d6, and then you charge them, just like in Warhammer. And if you don't make the charge, you still go, I think, halfway. If you wanted to, you could take your Warsurge game, and you could take the dash step or the dash perk out of it, just nobody has a dash value, but you give everybody charge 2, and all of a sudden, it in fact is Warhammer 40,000. But I gave the Kroot Hounds charge 2, because I want them to be faster, and I want them to be the pack of dogs that's running right at you. And so that's what I did with them. And then they all have Teeth and Claws, which are going to be 3 attacks each at power 3, AP nothing. And that's who they are. And the Kroot Hounds will get there faster. But most notably, I can bring the full pack of 8, and I don't have them to be in groups of 5 or 10. The Stealth Team moves 8, dashes 6, defense 4. That makes me feel funny. The crew should be defense 3. They should. I really like them as defense 4, though. Like, rah! But they should probably be defense 3. If a stealth suit is defense 4, a crew should be defense 3. But the stealth suits are defense 4. 2 hit points. 3 up armor save, no Aegis save. They have evasive, so they're -1 to hit all the time. They have accuracy 4 up like a Tau. They are shrouded, so they're an additional -1 to shooting at them. So your attack dice is -2 in shooting, -1 in melee. They have invade 3, so in the deployment phase, you just put them on the table where you want them to go. And they're airborne. The burst cannon is an 18-inch gun with 4 dice, power 5. And the fusion blaster is an 18-inch gun with 1 dice, power 8. Devastate 2 is d6 wounds. Impact 1 is +2 to the power at half range. So inside 9 inches is a power 10 gun. And then Penetrate 4 is -4 to your armor. So if you have a 2-up armor save against the Fusion Blaster, you have a 6-up armor save. And also, don't they just look good? Who's next? Who haven't we talked about yet? Fire Warriors. The humble Fire Warrior. Fire Warriors were the first Tau unit I fell in love with. I had a buddy of mine playing Dawn of War. And, I'd been interested in miniature games for a long time, but I saw Dawn of War and I saw the Tau, and I was like, those guys are sweet. And they were. And they still are. They move 6. They dash 6. They are defense 3 with 1 hit point, with an armor of 4. They are accuracy 4 up. A pulse rifle is range 30 with 1 attack at power 5. It is a battle weapon, so they can't dash it, they shoot it. I thought about making it a heavy weapon. But only because in Dawn of War, when your Fire Warriors got up to the line, they had to take a second before they started shooting. That's the only reason I would make it heavy. But currently I've made it battle. Now it's rapid, so it's 2 shots within 15 inches, but it's also cumbersome, which gives it a penalty in melee. And I like that because in Warsurge, you don't need to use the accuracy or the aim. You can roll it on just 1 dice. And if that's the case, your power 5 is going to be very powerful in melee, and it shouldn't be if you're Tau. So giving you a penalty just off the bat, I think is a good move. And let's see what Cumbersome actually does. Yeah, Cumbersome is a -1. And then I also have a marker light on the Sergeant, and it's the exact same marker light as the marker drones have, except for hers is heavy. She cannot move or dash if she wants to fire it. And it does the same thing as the other marker lights. It puts pulverize on a unit, lowering their defense value. We have the 3 crisis suits. This unit is 390 points, not counting the 3 drones that are going to be attached to them. And I was amazed. But also, Warsurge makes sense. And if you got a big money unit, they're going to cost a lot of points. And I like that about it. I don't know why Games Workshop can't do it that way. Just make the unit, make it cool, and then hit it with the points. It's so simple. Oh my God. They move 10. They dash 6. They have a defense of 5. They have 3 hit points each. They have a 3-up armor save. They have a 4-up Aegis save because I put shield generators on each one of them. Shield generators aren't a thing. And you can give certain perks to certain weapons, like certain defensive perks to certain weapons. But I've put that defensive perk right on the model. They have their 4-up invulnerable save. They're airborne. They have ambush 1, so they will drop and they will scatter. And they're accuracy 4 up like a Tau. I thought about making them accuracy 3 up because they're elite crisis suits, but this unit is already 390 points. And I'm sure they'd be over 500 if I gave them a better accuracy. So they have burst cannons and they have fusion blasters the same way the stealth team does, but they also have plasma rifles. And the plasma rifle is a 30-inch gun with 1 attack, and it's rapid, and it is Annihilate 2, so it's going to do 3 damage, and it is Penetrate 3, so it's AP 3, and it's just a good gun, and the crisis suits are my all-purpose kill everything unit, and I love them. All right, we're going to talk about Ethereals. Ethereal move 6, dash 6, defense 3, 3 hit points, no armor, 5-up Aegis save. They have leader, so they can join units. They have accuracy 3-up for their honor blade or their equalizers, but they're not close combating. That's not their job. What their job is they each have the presence perk. And what presence is you put presence on a model, and that is a table-wide army buff. And as long as there's an ethereal on the table, they get their table-wide army buff. And what I've given them is the inspiring presence. And what that does is it makes me +1 to all of my attack dice. Now, I don't need 3 ethereals for this. I could do it with just 1, but the models are only 20 points. And so you might as well bring 3, and then if somebody gets sniped, your presence stay on the table. I love the presence perk. I love the aura perk. And I can see where you might get a little bit crazy with it. I'm going to stick to 1 presence and 1 aura in an army list for the sake of, not being confusing. Another thought that I was just thinking is in Dawn of War, way back in Dawn of War and Soulstorm, the ethereal could spawn a unit of fire warrior bodyguards, elite fire warriors, better fire warriors, and they were. Their guns shot further and they were sweet. And there's of course no rules for that in 40K, but I could totally do that in Warsurge. I got tons of fire warriors to paint, and I could just make 10 of them white, and then break them into 2 squads of 5, and then they're each guarding an ethereal, and maybe just 1 ethereal doesn't make it to the game. And that's cool. I hadn't thought of that till just a second ago, and now I really like the idea because ethereals should have honor guards, right? And then after I thought that, then I thought about the best 40K unit ever. The best one is the drone harbinger or harbinger. How do you say that word? The drone harbinger from Soulstorm, which was like a hammerhead or a devilfish chassis, but it had this big refrigerator looking piece on the back, and what it did was it just pooped out drones. You hit the button and drones just came out of it. And making an honor guard unit is super easy. That's fine. But I don't know if Warsurge can produce the drone harbinger for me. But now that I've thought about it, now I got to see if that's a thing. But that's a project for another day. And last but certainly not least is Commander Brightside. Commander Brightside, who is not in the Tau Empire anymore. And if I want to bring him, I either have to call him something he is not, or just leave him at home. But Commander Brightside, dude, he was a broadside for me a long time ago, and then they changed the broadsides, and he wasn't a broadside anymore, and then he was just going to sit in a box, but I loved him, and he played so many games for me as a broadside that I decided that on the bright side, he might as well just be a commander. And so I painted him up like a commander, and he's beautiful. He's been playing every Tau game I've played on the channel. He's been in on. He's the guy, and I'm really happy that I have a purpose for him. But he moves 10, he dashes 6. He's got a defensive 5. He's got 5 hit points. He's got a 3-up armor save. He has no Aegis save because I have never put a shield generator on him. And so he just doesn't have one. He's going to have 2 shield drones rolling with him, and let's hope that's enough. He is airborne. He is a leader, so he can join units. He has an accuracy of 2-up because he's a commander. And he has, of course, ambush 1 for his deep striking. I've given him 4 missile pods. And they will throw 2 dice each, so he gets 8 shots. And they are power 7, and they are 36-inch range. And they are penetrate 1 for -1 to somebody's armor. And they are annihilate 1, so they are 2 damage each. And that's all he does. He doesn't have an aura or a presence. He leads with the might of his guns. And that's what this army is. This is my Warsurge force. And, Warsurge is, I think, a smart system, and it's fun to play with my son. And it's fun. I love the app. I play with the app all day. But it wasn't until I did this project where I sat down with my Tau and tried to really do the list, where all of a sudden I really wanted to play some Warsurge. I want to play Warsurge today with this army. This army is a little bit over 2,000 points. If I got rid of an ethereal, I can make it 2,000 points. And I really want to throw down with this. It looks great. And I'm super into Warsurge, and I need more game friends. I need more game friends because my buddy the Farseer is really busy, and we only play 40K. And there's all these other games I want to play. I want to play Warsurge. I want to play Frostgrave and Stargrave. I want to play Dracula's America. And as sorry as I am to say it, I really want to play Horus Heresy, but who's got the money for that, right? Anyway, this is Warsurge Wednesday, Tau Empire. And viewers, are you enjoying Warsurge Wednesday? Have you gotten the app? Are you building the list? What would you have done different? Is it silly to make my crew toughness 4, defense 4? I could drop that down really easy. They can be defense 3, but I love crew. Wouldn't it be nice if they hung out on the table for a little bit longer? Anyway, I'm going to turn the phone off now. I'm going to be done with Warsurge Wednesday this week. But this is the Tau Empire in Warsurge. I hope everybody's getting games in. I hope you all got the app. Happy wargaming, everybody.